Awesome. So I saw everybody. I was going to take a look real quick and see if there's any specific questions. I saw people poking around um, in the slide deck. So happy to share that, and then we can ask any questions on the fly. I don't want to walk through, excuse me, the entire deck, but I did want to call out a few things if there aren't any initial questions that anybody had that you wanted me to dive into. So I'll open the floor first and then dive in if everybody's willing to just go along for the ride. Questions. I didn't see any in the group conversation either. Cool. I'll share my screen real quick. So a couple quick things that I wanted to call out. If you haven't looked at slides 5 through 11, please do. I had the team kind of put together just some of the work in general that they've worked on recently. I have a feeling everybody in this meeting and probably everybody at the company has seen the work they did. So can you hear me still? My headphones are acting crazy. Okay. I don't know what's going on with my headphones. So yeah, if you haven't had a chance, take a look and see. This is obviously not all of the work. And if something that maybe somebody in here has worked on is not included, apologies. We probably would have a very big deck if we included every single thing that the team has worked on. So a couple things that I wanted to call out though, for sure, and kind of take a look at. So if you didn't know these existed, they do. So brand standards, we know this is just the beginning. We know that there's more to work on, and that's things that we have as part of our Q4 OKRs in terms of brand iteration to build out these brand standards more. Right, it should be a language that we can all kind of utilize to put together, things on our own or while we're working with partners or vendors as well. So if you haven't taken a look at those, please do. We both have kind of multiple things in process and moving forward, but the team is definitely pushing towards there, and we recognize the need to kind of expand on those brand standards. Any questions on the brand standard stuff? I'm trying to look in the doc as well here. Looks like Devin's got a question real quick from an issue type standpoint. So Devin, do you want to verbalize that? Are you in here?
Yeah. Hey, Adam, I'm here. So I just wanted to say thanks for including the links to those different issue types in the presentation. Good to know where to go to request design support or review. I'm just sort of curious, what is the process for deciding which projects the design team can work on in a given quarter or sprint? I guess I'm just curious if we're putting in a new design request, how it's then that project is then evaluated as something you were able to work on or not.
Yeah, sure. So some of that, I'll full transparency, some of that is still a bit TBD as we're looking to build out kind of core agencies and vendors that we can also work with. But everything that comes through the new brand design request gets triaged by right now it's kind of a tag team effort between me and Luke. We also meet as a group 3 times a week, usually at the beginning of the week, is discuss those availabilities and where work is kind of happening and workload and things like that with the whole team. And then midweek we do, it's kind of scrum fashion to a certain extent, but are there any blockers? Anybody have any fire drills? Does anybody need any help? We do want to build out a little bit more process. It's not mentioned in the slides, but it is part of kind of I guess our Q4 OKRs as well, to build out a little bit more of that process and kind of then obviously add it to the handbook so everybody can take a look at and how we're running things. I know it's not a great answer, Devin, but I give you the best answer I can.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Looks like David. David, are you in? Do you want to verbalize your question?
I am. Thank you.
Yeah.
I do realize that you've been here for a few weeks only, but I'm sure that you have the full understanding of how the team is working and the work that you're doing. So very basic questions. with regards to the team and the processes, what are the things that you feel are working well, and which things you'd like to perhaps reassess?
Yeah, sure. So we talked about some of the process, and I've been talking with the team too, right, as a whole, to see what we need to reassess. Some of our processes for sure. We also, I think we work with a lot of different groups, and some groups we work with more regularly and some we don't work with as regularly. So I think that process is going to help there as well. Sometimes too, we've noticed one, adding issues for any new design requests is kind of key right now, and that is the process that's in place. At times, we sometimes get a lot of slacks, and we all recognize that we get a lot of slacks and asking a lot of questions sometimes. That's, so anytime we can make sure that we're just following that process is definitely key for us to ensure that we don't miss anything. We also want to include, probably where we feel like things could definitely improve upon, is having conversations at the right times to ensure that what we're designing is matching up with content, and also what we're designing is meeting the needs, I think, of the requesters and the stakeholders involved. So that's something else that we want to try to bring forth, I guess, a little bit more conversation around certain aspects, but also then be able to maybe conceptualize and work on that. So it's not necessarily like I need this, here it is, move it through. Some of that stuff is is nice, and we can rinse and repeat, and we're trying to put in and continue to kind of build on those things that can be rinsed and repeat. But some of the things take a little bit more nuanced design, around the content and things like that. So those are some of the things that we want to work on for sure. And again, I already mentioned the brand standards, but building those out so that there's more of a language there that we can use. Luke, is there anything you want to add to that? I think you're in too.
Yeah, no, I think those are key areas to focus on that, as a team, we've tried to work hard at carving out time for those, and, just the flow of requests kind of eat up that time. So, yeah, I wouldn't add much else.
Great, thank you.
Brendan, you want to verbalize your question? Looks like you're talking about the pitch deck.
Sure. Yeah. Apologize for not being on video. I'm on my phone right now. Is this, you mentioned the pitch deck in the deck? Is that work complete? And if so, like, is there a single source of truth for that? I know that's something we've struggled in the past, like for folks that are creating presentations, making sure that we have the right presentation template, et cetera, most up to date, has been a historical struggle. Is that something you're thinking about? And is that part of that project or related?
Yeah. So the pitch deck that you saw in there, that's kind of version, I think, what we're considering it. And so Matt Salick, I don't know if anybody knows, he's one of our senior designers. He's been working pretty closely with Cormac on that, and did originally, I think, too, with others. We're considering it a version 1, kind of a 1.0 type of thing. I know some feedback, which is kind of that version 1.5, but we really want to take it and make sure it's hitting all the right, I guess, drum beats, and points across. So we're envisioning a 2.0, especially going in like to SCO. So I know there's a lot of conversations around that. That pitch deck too, I think, Brendan, that you're speaking of, was I think a little bit of a quicker turnaround, but also a bit more specific to what enterprise level, if I remember correctly. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was more enterprise level focused. So while we're making some updates to that, we are working on mid-market next as well. So the answer is kind of yes. It's something that can be used and right is out there. It's as final as it's going to be right now, but it will be updated as we go into SCO in the beginning of February.
Great. So is it that's helpful. So where is 1.0 that if we wanted to see it?
Yeah, we can share. I don't have the direct link right now. Luke, do you have that? Do you want to add to the doc?
I don't have it either. I can find it. I believe Craig shared it on Slack somewhere, so we'll track that down and add it for you. Yeah, and
we'll add it right into here in your question too, Brendan. So that way everybody can take a look at it.
Yeah, I guess that kind of goes to my question. Like, I think we need to establish where in the handbook it is. Like, the for instance would be, I just Google GitLab pitch deck and I'm brought to the portfolio marketing teams page that has a pitch deck from, much further ago. And so that's why I think it's important we figure out how we're gonna, if we want to make sure that everyone's kind of speaking the same brand voice, like how we're gonna make sure that that's easily accessible and not just something on Slack or in a
Yep.
a document link.
Yep, for sure. And that makes total sense. Then I'd like to follow up too with kind of the DRI or DRIs of that, like with Cormac and stuff too, to make sure that wherever it does live, it's living in the right place. Putting it in my initial thought is putting it as a link under the brand design team is probably not the right place, because since we created it, but it's not necessarily right our asset specifically that gets used. So let me follow up with that. That makes sense, and it's great feedback.
Portfolio marketing, we need to just switch it out with what Brennan just found, since that's going to give us immediate Google results too.
Okay. So Ty, are you saying switching it out with what's up there then?
Well, with what's just created, we just need to switch out the pitch deck that is on the portfolio marketing page. Not saying that has to be the spot, but if that's one of those spots that's pulling up top Google search too, but we can still determine the main location. But more than likely, it'll be portfolio marketing. And I'll talk to Cormac about that.
Okay, appreciate it. Let's see. Where are we going next? Christy.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Hey, look, design leader to design leader. I see some really beautiful work on slides 5 through 8, and that's super exciting to me. So congratulations to the brand design team. Nice work. My question is, will the elegance of the designs that I see on those slides start to flow out to our marketing website about.gitlab.com?
Yeah, we do have some Q4 OKRs around some of that stuff. And then both working with Michael's, if anybody doesn't know, I've only been here a month. So, hey, if I haven't met you yet, but Michael is also my onboarding buddy. So Michael Preuss. Luke and Michael and I will be working pretty closely with him, as well as Jeff as well, right, from a content perspective. And we do want to make some updates to the web, and that is part of our goal, along with some of that brand iteration that we plan to be working on this quarter as well. Can we reinvent the entire website in the next quarter? No, and we probably don't want to do that, but we do want to make some key adjustments where it might be the biggest ROI. So yes, that is in the roadmap.
That's really exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing that. It looked like Brian and Christine had some comments as well.
Oh yeah, my comment was the same as what Adam just said, so no need to revise.
Yeah, mine was more internally focused, but this is brilliant work. It makes you feel stuff. And at the recent GC for marketing, it was all data all day, and I'm a data person. I love it, but look at all this beautiful work that we do, and it's not just about celebrating. Of course, it does help to form that shared narrative internally, gets us all on the same page. So I think if we could incorporate some more of this amazing work into marketing's internal storytelling, that could be helpful too.
Yeah, for sure, Brian. I think that's great, and I know that's our goal, like across the board. And something that the team and I have been talking about too is, right, we want to make sure that we're telling a story with the designs, and make sure the content harmonizes with the visuals and everything else too. So that is part of our ongoing, I guess, quest to marry those things together and bring us into right post IPO world at this point in time. Jeremy, do you want to verbalize? Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, welcome to the team.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah, I was just curious what the plan is for managing and distributing assets via like a dam, so that other teams can consume those and then be able to use those, correctly and according to guides, so you don't get kind of one-off designs in presentations or resizing or all those things that irk brand people. And then I see Nikki, you've got an answer there.
Yeah, I was gonna let Nikki. Her and I were chatting on Slack real quick yesterday, actually. But Nikki, do you wanna give an update on that? I think you've been kind of more in it, and I know you're new to it a bit too. So, but I'll make you the expert since you have maybe an extra week or few on me than in that category.
In GitLab terms, that's like 10 years, right? That's what everybody says. No, yeah, I inherited this evaluation for the dam. So marketing ops is kind of taking the lead on the vendor evaluation. We are a little bit in a holding pattern until we can determine who has the budget and where that can kind of live. But hoping to get some clarity around that in the next, I would say, couple of weeks, and then have a plan to select a vendor and make a plan to roll this out, hopefully in the first half of the next fiscal year. I did link to an issue that you can follow along if you're interested. It is not up to date. I'll preface that it's the issue that I kind of inherited, but as we kind of move forward and have a little bit more clarity, I'll stay on top of keeping that up to date so everybody can know the latest. Thanks for the question.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. I guess I have the next one too. I'm just curious, what type of inspiration or input do you consume or would like to consume from the product side of things to kind of provide feedback and influence into the brand so that brand direction and product direction kind of visually sync up and align and feel one and the same?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jeremy. Right now, I'm trying to absorb it literally almost as much as I possibly can, right, from my own perspective. But some of the things we're looking at bringing on a agency partner to kind of help accelerate some of the brand iteration this quarter. And one of the things I want to make sure that we include, and like I talked to David the other day too, I want to make sure that we're including multiple members of the team, and getting feedback from key members. So one of those would be from product as well with some of this, because it needs to harmonize right with that as well as much as possible. So we can't just go out and make our own thing and come back around. Same like specifically using an example with David, I want to see what what he and his team feels like, right, from a developer community standpoint with what we start to put together. And we do plan on doing testing too. So I think from a product, specific side of things and influence, I don't have a specific answer other than I'd like to talk more about that. And Jeremy, you've actually been on my list to set up a coffee chat with, so I just haven't done it yet too. So maybe we can discuss it a bit more and try to brainstorm what we think the best ways would be for that. Luke or anybody?
Awesome. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that's awesome. And to call out, like, your team has been fantastic collaborating so far. So I really enjoy working with Vic and Matt and Monica, Luke, and others. So it'd be awesome just to see that continue and take shape more visually. So.
Cool. I appreciate that, Jeremy. And thanks for the questions too. Luke, do you have anything to add to that with your long-term tenure and historical knowledge?
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think, I don't know, I probably say it too much, but I feel like there's a lot of these things that we're talking about now with, marrying the product and marketing and brand and all of that have always sort of been in the back of my head. And, it's just finding the capacity to do those things. So, slowly but surely, I think we're getting real close to making that come to life. So.
Awesome. let's see. I think did we miss it? Did I miss anybody's questions? I think we got through everything specific. So one thing, I know I'm still sharing my screen, right? So one thing I wanted to call out to specifically, so it's on slide 13, lucky number 13. I don't like the number 13. So I'm like those old building, builders that wouldn't put the 13 button on the elevator. But so something that we had an idea as a team, we've been talking about it, is like, I've noticed in coffee chats as we're having brainstorming sessions, we're just meeting with our design hours. There's ideas that pop up, and I asked, like, where are we keeping them? And we didn't really necessarily have a perfect place. So we're going to try something out where we did create an epic. It's for anybody and everybody to put any ideas in there. So I have a few that I need to add in there now. This isn't like active project work or anything like that. It's just that, hey, what if we did this? What if we, I have an idea for, a campaign that we could do, or I have a cool idea for, some kind of outreach. I'm picking on David a little bit today, but in a coffee chat with David, he had some ideas around, I guess like a GitLab for the greater good kind of thing, right? And it would be a campaign and putting some of that stuff together. So we're going to use this epic and try it out and see how we can kind of add all these ideas into there and use it as both a place to refer back to, but also, a place for inspiration. So there's some information in there. It's going to be easy. Just add into comments, new comment thread for each idea, and we'll kind of go from there. Obviously open to ideas around how to best use it, or if anybody has used this in the past, any things that we've learned. But it's something that we wanted to try this quarter, and hopefully it serves a good purpose. But I encourage everyone to contribute into that as well if you have some ideas. Any other questions, or Luke, anything that we wanted to else call out on?
No, nothing comes to mind. I think this was great. I appreciate everyone's questions. Putting Adam on the spot for his.
I know, right? I knocked it out of the park, right?
Yeah.
So no, I appreciate it. These are great questions. I very much appreciate everybody joining. I know we're almost at time here, so maybe we can give you a few minutes back if there's no other questions. Cool. Awesome. Very much appreciate it. Somebody told me to stop sharing my screen a long time ago. Apologies that I did not listen. So thank you very much. Reach out to the team or anybody, if you have add those ideas to those epics, and we look forward to working with each and every one of you. Thank you.